Well, thank you so much for having me here today, and just want to say thank you for Kathy and the three times the charm. I wasn't able to make it the past 2 years because unfortunately my husband had to go into the hospital for illnesses, and so I'm really great to say that he is doing great and not sick. So thank you for having me here. First, of course, want to say thank you to the family and friends for Freedom Fund for having us here today. It's such a great honor to just come and tell you my story. But also, before we get started, I just wanted to say happy birthday to the Marine Corps, 238 years. And also happy Veterans Day to all of our veterans here and to the family who supports them. So I am from the South, as you can tell. I did not bring a translator, so I will try to speak very clearly for you guys. But my journey began on February 17th, 2007, when my husband of only 3 years, Scot, was in a helicopter crash in Afghanistan. The resulting injury left, like 7 years later, he is still what they call a semi-comatose state from his very catastrophic head injury that he received from the helicopter crash. He had a very short journey from the cash unit in Afghanistan to Longstrel, Germany, and then to Washington, D.C., where he was at Bethesda. And I got to see him 3 days after his injury, and I didn't realize what it was going to mean to be a caregiver. It was awful. Just seeing him with every medical equipment around him, tubes going everywhere. It was just a young 26-year-old wife should never have to go through. But I made a promise in front of God that I was going to take care of him regardless of his injury. So that's what I'm doing. So we went from Bethesda to Tampa, VA. That's where he received most of his care, his long-term care. And I truly believe that you meet people, God puts people in your life to make a journey possible. And the first person that I met in this journey was a young wife just like myself, had the prettiest hair. I'm so jealous of her hair. And she was pregnant. And her husband was injured in Iraq. And he received a catastrophic brain injury as well. And so we were in the very similar boats. And I knew from right then and there that God put us in each other's life. And it's Yvonne over here. She's over here right now. And then we were fortunate to meet Mama Veronica, who her son Bradley was injured in Iraq in an IED explosion. So we all three were put together in this journey. Our whole mission was to wake our guys up. We were going to go anywhere and do anything that was non-invasive to give them every opportunity to have a full recovery. So this led to us being by their side for 3 years in the hospital where they were inpatient at the Tampa VA. We tried everything that was you could think of because we just never wanted to give up. And eventually that led us here to Kessler Rehab Institute, where they were having a very new experimental treatment, and all three of our guys were accepted into the experimental program. And this is where we just fell in love with New Jersey. We were adopted by so many wonderful people here. The West Orange Fire Department adopted us right away. The Slattery Detachment and Marine Corps League, and of course Kathy and friends and family for Freedom Fund were very instrumental in making this journey not so bad, because it was such a difficult journey. But to come up for us, coming to New Jersey, it was a sign of hope. You know, Bethesda was awful. You're told, hey, you know, your loved one's never going to wake up. Tampa was excruciating because that's when the realization. So when we came to New Jersey, it was more of a signal of hope. So we all had such a pleasant time here because of all of the community coming together and supporting people who aren't even from New Jersey, but we are from the same country. And you guys support your troops in such a way that you will never know how much your contribution means to the family. We definitely felt the love. We loved the visits, loved the brownies and the cookies. Kind of put it on our hips, but that's okay. But we also became lifelong friends with a lot of people here. Kathy was just amazing to come visit us all the time, and Pete. There's Pete. Love Pete from the Marine Corps League, and Dante from the fire department. They were just all wonderful. But when you transition home, it's a whole nother chapter. And this is what I want to come and talk to you guys about and challenge you. Because now the war has died down and we're out of that acute phase. Now it's all about transitioning and having these guys and women transition home. And it's going to take a community to do that. We're going to have to cradle our veterans and make sure that they are loved and respected in the way that they deserve. They deserve to come home to a job. They deserve to come home to a loving family. And it's really up to the community programs that are out there and nonprofits that are going to help support that. So, and it's also very difficult for the families as well. I know with me, I represent a very catastrophic injury on one side of the spectrum, but Scott has to have 24-hour care. He doesn't walk, talk, move. He doesn't communicate in any way. So it has to be a constant care for him. But it's a funny story. I have my doctorate, and I'm very proud of that because Scott he referred to me as his sugar mama. So I'm very proud of my education, but I have utilized what I was given and do it for the best. I advocate a lot for the veterans. If you need a bulldog in your corner, you just call on me and I'll help you, kind of a way. I felt like that was a great way to give forward. But we're home with Scott and have my great education, and I said, it's time for me to get a job. And so I just wanted to just get a small, part-time job to get out of the house because it's just excruciating being there 24 hours. And I actually was denied at Lowe's because I was overqualified. So my challenge is that even their families need these jobs, and it's for reasons that you probably never will understand. But I do challenge to help these veterans and their families transition back into their community and help them become again to that community base, because they go from the military where they have a strong bond that we will never understand, but now I don't know. I don't know why Lowe's denied me, but I was going to be a great greeter. I would have been. But that's another challenge that is definitely there, is that family members are having a hard time finding positions as well, because they are not only caregivers to their loved ones, but they're also the moms. They're the parent to their child. They are the sole entity of the family, and so that's another thing that I advocate a lot for, is our caregiver rights. So, I can talk the wallpaper off the wall, but I just wanted to tell you that I really do appreciate all the support that you have given us in the family. I wish I could have brought Scott with me, but due to his severity, he can't travel. But I know that you guys have him in your hearts and prayers. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for all the support that you continue to give us. Thank you so much. happy birthday to the Marines, and happy Veterans Day. You guys are awesome.
Thank you, RyAnne. That's just one of those examples, folks, of what we're doing here and why we're here and what we're trying to do. When I've taken the trip down to Bethesda, people have been here before, heard me say this, it just impacted me beyond belief to see these young men in the positions they were in, and every one of them was yes sir, no sir, I just want to get back to my unit, I just miss my guys. It's just awe-inspiring, and you know, it's our turn to pick them up. Okay, they picked us up, it's our turn to pick them up. The next person I want to introduce, I'm going to give a quick background on this one. And back to summer of 2004, Kathy and Bob Sterler is the family party house in our group. And we had a barbecue, as we often do, and we were having to get together because Jimmy was going to be deployed. Jimmy Sterler, who many of you know is the real reason Family and Friends began, was being deployed to Iraq in September, and the rest of us were going to send him off, and we had a lot of conversations with him, and in fact the last words I said to him was to stay in the damn tank, pardon my French, but stay in the tank. But he then, after he took off, we were waiting as a family, as many families, it's really our first experience as an extended family to really go through this, or certainly for me, and the clock was starting. As he was leaving, everybody was like, okay, 6 months until he's back. 6 months until he's back, and we just count the days until we hear that he's taken off and heading back. And that's really the impetus behind this song that his brother Scot Sterler wrote, singer-songwriter brother, who was impacted so dramatically as the whole family was, as only 8 days into his tour, Jimmy was wounded. And in the fog of war, as everyone has heard, and it is very true, the data, the information was very sketchy. Kathy and Bob were getting bits and pieces. He was going to Germany, he wasn't going to Germany, he was stable, he wasn't stable. It was a very, very traumatic time. And that, I believe, is the impetus that when it impacted all of us, and Scott put it into a tremendous song. My nephew, Scot Sterler.
I think the battery's getting low.
Really?
Is that the meter on the bottom there?